That's us.
Brad, you're gonna be on this camera. Well, sort of more positioned toward that one, but you know, look at that side of me.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. Woohoo! No video. Here we go, people. Actually, yeah.
Is this the Red Barn?
Hello, good to have you with us on Red Barn Radio. I'm Brad Becker. We are celebrating, ladies and gentlemen, the 20th season of Red Barn Radio. And tonight we welcome you to show number 755, which is a very good number. And it's a very good show. Tonight we have two of the region's finest axe slingers singing and playing for you. Owen and Willie Eames. We just went through this. Owen and Willie Eames have both been regulars on the Lexington, Kentucky music scene, anchoring bands from Catawampus and Triple Crown to Wayne Graham and Club Dub for well into a couple of decades. We're so glad to have you here with us for this evening of traditional and original tunes delivered in ways only these two guys can do it. Welcome, Willie Eames and Owen, to the Red Barn stage.
1, 2, 3, 4. Here we are at the end of the road. We got to wait. There we can go. We grow apart. Always stay close. What time we have. What time we have, time we have. We take the good, we take the bad. Always see tomorrow's past. Yesterday's dream goes by so fast. Nothing good goes on, nothing bad can last. Time we had, what time we had, what time we had. We take the good, we take the bad. time we had. What a time we had. Time we had. We take the good. We take the bad. Whoa, oh, time we had. Whoa, oh, time we had. Whoa, oh, time we had. All right, thanks, y'all.
Good evening and welcome to Red Barn Radio. Wherever in the world you're listening, welcome to Roots Music Southern Style. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn Radio's official radio partner, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Listen online at weku.org. Red Barn Radio is supported by Visit Lex, Lexington, Kentucky's Convention and Visitors Bureau. More information on what Lexington has to offer is at visitlex.com. LexArts, Lexington, Kentucky's premier cultural development, advocacy, and fundraising organization, working for the development of a strong and vibrant arts community as a means of enhancing the quality of life in Central Kentucky. Follow Red Barn Radio on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Here's the host of Red Barn Radio to tell us more about tonight's performers.
Tonight's guests, good friends Lee and Willie, as I understand it, had never collaborated until a chance meeting at the grocery store led them to join together for the first time. The two guitarists, also both capable singers and writers, say they've had tons of fun exploring a mix of classic and original jazz, blues, and country music in recent years. Lee and Willie collectively have done more to shape the region's music vibe than any pair of players we can think of. It's 2 for 1 night here on Red Barn Radio. Welcome Lee Owen and Willie Eames to the Red Barn stage.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Very nice. All right, so you know that first song we did, that was a little blues tune called "What a Time," and I'll be dropping a lot of names here, which I got to admit I know none of these people. This is all like kind of in the fantasy world, or at least the connections through YouTube, where I'm watching the Hoss Allen, his old TV show, The Beat, and he's got Freddie King on there all the time. I'm just thinking, well, I'm going to write a song that maybe Freddie King would want to, jam with me in some other world at some other time. But I got my man Lee to do it, which is just as wonderful.
Yeah.
This next song, this is I'll drop some more names: Jimmy Bryant and Speedy West, some fine pedal steel and Telecaster Master. Listening to them a little bit, thinking, what's a little song maybe one day, we could groove on. This is called the Catalpa Rag. You don't know it. Roll down. Go now. Right, thanks, yeah.
All right, here's another one. I'm sort of a fan of Django Reinhardt.
Sort
So
of.
as Willie and I got together, I started dragging him through my standard list of Django tunes.
Good stuff.
So this is a fun one, Swing 39 from 1939. Thank you very much. So in addition to my Django Reinhardt thing, I have a Doc Watson thing. So here's another one that we
Good old
sort of
Doc.
worked up, an old Doc tune. And I guess this, Willie, you can probably tell him better, this is not really a Doc Watson tune. That's where I got it. It's called Windy and Warm. Did you figure out who wrote it?
I was going to say it was J.D. Loudermilk.
There you go. So I should
The
get
guy who
credit
wrote
where credit
Tobacco
is due.
Road and, what else did he write? He wrote some other great songs. But yeah, it's one of his songs from the
Fun picking tune.
mid-'60s here. Thanks, Joe. All right, this next tune, this is another one of mine. This is a little blues gospel thing. Always thinking about the staple singers and Willie Johnson and great old stuff like that. It's called Brother's Keeper. Brother's keeper to the very end. Brother's keeper to the very end. One day a stranger could be your only friend. A stranger is your only friend. And bite my lip all down the boulevard. And bite my lip all down the boulevard. Faces and there I see look so cold and hard, like a tombstone crumbling in the yard. Brother's keeper to the very end. Brother's keeper to the very end. One day a stranger can be your only friend. A stranger is your only friend. I look you, you look me in the eye. I look you, you look me in the eye. Boche, see that is cool. Then we walk on by. Then we're gonna walk on by. Brothers keeper to the very end. Brothers keeper to the very end. One day a stranger could be your only friend. A stranger is your only friend. Billy. Brothers keeper to the very end. Brother keeper to the very end. One day a stranger gonna be your only friend. A stranger is your only friend. Brother keeper to the very end. Brothers keeper to the very end. One day a stranger could be your only friend. A stranger is your only friend. Right. Thanks, man.
All right. Well, as I said earlier, it is 2 for 1 night here on Red Barn Radio. Tonight we're here with Lee Owen and Willie Eames, two artists who have done so much to get all of us out of the house for 20 years. Instead of watching television, we've gone out to the bars and all the places these guys play and listen to great music for so long. And we're really happy you guys can be with us. It's just
Thank you so much.
great. What a lot of beautiful sound. If you're just joining us now, don't go anywhere. Later on, you can go back and hear what you missed, which is 4 or 5 amazing tunes. Meanwhile, we'll just hang out here and talk for a little bit so we can get these humble guys to wax eloquent on themselves and their accomplishments, at least to share some thoughts on life in the music biz for as long as you guys have been in it, you know. Why don't we start by having you acquaint us with your instruments? Yeah, and you guys can, sort of share these questions and just, buddy up on them. What do you got, Lee?
I've got a Larrivee, which I like. I used to play bluegrass on a regular basis with a bunch of guys who knew about bluegrass guitars, and I just had a Yamaha, and they used to make fun of me incessantly.
Oh.
So I was saving my money for a Martin, because as a bluegrasser, that's what you should have. But they're expensive. And I got to like $1,000, and they work at Wilcott, and they were like, come buy one of these Larrivees from us. They're great. It's bang for your buck. And I have bought it. I've beat it up. It's split, but
Sounds sweet.
it's my deal now. It's my Larrivee.
Are those made in Canada?
I think British Columbia or something, yeah.
Okay, yeah. French.
Canada.
Why aren't they called La Rives? I've
Larrivee.
never known how
They
to.
probably do, and I'm probably
Well, no, I always
mispronouncing
hear in this country there's Larrives.
Yeah.
So, anyway. But so that's a cool instrument. So it's a cheap Martin.
Sort of for me.
Yeah.
I mean, and they have Martins that are inexpensive Martins, but I play a lot of guitar, so I sort of need
Yeah.
I would tell people it's like trying to buy a used car or something. You know, it's thousands of dollars for sort of what I might use. So this was bang for your buck, but of course, it had a nice top on it, which I wasn't used to having to deal with temperature control and humidity control. So I did split it, which is unfortunate. But I can't really hear the split, and it's just sort of, it's my take on aging it. People are like, you're beating it up, and I'm like, yeah, I can look like Willie Nelson's when I'm done. That's good.
So does it matter that it has
Sinister.
does it matter that the instrument has a split in it if you can't hear it? Is that something
If
you're
you
going to have
can't
to
hear it,
tend
it
to
really doesn't
eventually?
matter. If it's structurally changing it, you know, if one of the braces comes loose or something that's going to, you know, vibrate, you would
Yeah,
hear
I
it, or if it's going to mess with the structural integrity of the guitar. But in this case, I guess it was fairly clean, and it hasn't required me to do anything at all about it.
All right.
And it's been 3 or 4 years, and I keep rolling with it, so I guess it's worked. But
Yeah. It seems to
it's
work
just
just
my
fine.
beater acoustic that it gets beat. Considering I bought it brand new, you can just feel nicks and things out of it as I roll my hands around the edges. It's beat. So his is
some life
beat
in
too, but it's much older. Mine's new. I don't have the excuse.
Yeah, what about yours, Willie? It's kind of an interesting instrument. I
Oh,
don't
thanks,
I don't recognize the. Is it a mahogany wood or what kind of wood is it?
You know, it says there's a little plate in here, and it says it's cedar.
Cedar.
Now,
All right.
I've had a friend who's an wood expert say that's not cedar. Hey man, I'll take whoever's word for it. I couldn't tell you really.
Has that been an instrument you've played for a long time?
It really has been, and actually, what's kind of cool about it, coincidentally, this is an Art and Lutherie, so it has a little bit of French. This was actually made in Quebec. I got this guitar. This was actually a present from my wife when we got married in 1996, and 25 years ago. So I've had this old beauty for 25 years, and I've been playing it ever since. It's had some wear and tear. I'm looking at the cracks right here where we've had to get out the old wood glue and glue it back together after a careless drop to the floor.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, it's cool. The company that makes Seagull guitars, because I think they made this because there's actually on the back of the tuning pegs there's little seagulls.
Oh.
I don't think that's an accident. I think this might be part of one of their this little custom models. I love the fact that it had no pick guard. I don't know why. Of course, I've
I like
shredded
that
it all
too.
around with no pick guard on there, but that's what pick guards are for. To stop all your indentations on the wood, but no.
Mine had a clear one, but I pulled it off, and you can still see it's.
Oh yeah, I thought it was on.
Why'd you take it off? Your fingers stick
It
on
was
it?
starting to ripple up and had some air bubbles on it. It just looked terrible. And
That's no good.
I saw somebody else that had pulled it off, and I go, oh yeah, that's what I need to do. That would look much better. So I did. But now you can still see the dirt stain. But anyway,
Low tech
Well,
awesomeness.
you guys make those instruments sound great.
Oh,
And,
thank you.
yeah, it's beautiful. I wonder if we might just have you give us a little thumbnail history of the two of you. You surely knew each other before you decided you're going to maybe play some together.
For quite a while.
Yeah. And how
I'd
come you
say-
never played together until you did?
Well, and it's funny because a lot of it was us both being busy. We both had plenty of stuff going on over the years. So I want to say it was late summer of 1990. So we're
Oh.
both 18, 19 years old. Me and my friends get our first apartment kind of down, right there, very close to where I live now, right between campus and downtown. And you start, meeting people. And I was definitely wanting to meet musicians. And we had a party at our house, and me and my roommate, he played drums, and I was playing guitar, and our little proto White Stripes duo thing going on. Not quite as successful, but and I can say we're trying to find musicians to play with. Do you know a bass player? Yeah, maybe. Try. And so I take a little break, and a guy gets over and grabs an axe and starts playing rock and roll. And it's this guy, Led Zeppelin rock and roll, quite well.
in
I'm
a
thinking,
toga, as I remember. It was a
was
toga
that
party.
a toga party?
I had
That
a
was
toga on.
actually.
Come
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Oh, the influence of Animal House. Not
Yeah.
the
Oh,
best
heavens,
one, but
I
hey,
know.
that was that going on. So yeah, that was a time.
So that was when you met, but that was long before the grocery store. Right?
And that was far. That was a good 31 years before that. So the pretty soon after that, you start Born Cross-Eyed, I believe. And
Yeah,
that was-
we're turning 30
that was
in December.
91.
Oh, wow.
And
December 11th.
I met some dear friends that I still make music with. Guys like Dave Ferris, the drummer, from 10 Foot Pole, Lily Ponds. He's in many bands now, great ones. Alma Gitana, and I think I know he and I both were in See the Beat off and on over the years, and with Lee Carroll, and that's a little more recent. And then I met those guys in '91, and I've been playing. That's basically Dave and I are doing club dub all these years later. We were in Catawampus. He was in it for almost 10 years. I was in it for 4 or 5 years. So that's the kind of thing. I started going in bands, and then Lee started doing his thing. And you take over from here, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've been sort of paralleling. And I think it's probably because we both played guitar. Because, I need a bassist. I need a drummer. I need a
Oh, right.
keyboard. Who
Sure.
needs another guitar? I can do that. So I think that's probably one of the big reasons that, he had his band and I had my bands. And we were always side by side. There were times we played at the same events
Yep.
and stuff. And we always
Jamming
knew
a
each
party or
other, but we
something.
never really
Yeah.
hooked up and played together, And then I would see him in the grocery all the time. And during the pandemic, of course, it changed. Everybody lost their gigs. We all really wanted to play music again. And so we sort of made this connection like, hey, he actually approached me and said, would you be interested in doing gigs? And I was so flattered because I've sort of looked up to Willie for years. So to have him ask me, like, would you consider doing this? I'm thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, do I need to pay you to do this? Heck yeah. And so then we came together, and it's just been really fun because we both sort of, we've paralleled each other in Lexington for 30 years and not really crossed. So we have just total different worlds of things, and so he brings me so much knowledge about blues and old jazz and all this, so I get a great education out of it. And again, I've got my nerdy little Grateful Dead world that I do, or I'm into the Django, and I can sort of bring some of that to him.
I love learning
so
all
it's
that
really
stuff,
been
yeah.
fun just having this really great guitar player that I get to bounce off of, and we're like, hey, do you know this, you know that, and we teach each other things from our own little worlds, and
Yeah, man.
it's been really neat having this project over the last few
I mean,
months.
seriously,
Yeah.
it's probably a few thousand songs that we could probably pull off between us over the years, and that's just kind of one of the cool things about, us developing kind of on our. Like I say, I mean, we've never not seen each other. I mean, like 5 years ago, he's doing sound for one of my bands.
Yeah, it would be
Whatever-
Sound and
anything.
Cosmic, and they'd come through. I mean, we would cross
We
paths
talk
in many
and chit
different
chat and catch
ways.
up, and
Yeah.
and so
Nice.
it's, and then that was kind of the thing. It's having basically no gigs for myself. I'm not quite as technically adept. Lee hopped right on doing some great live stream gigs, solo gigs of doing his stuff, and just basically kept doing gigs. And I'm kind of like
Computer
well,
guy.
I'm just going to sit on the back porch and play for the birds and that kind of thing, and the squirrels, and they
Yeah.
don't seem to mind too much. They don't pay too well though.
Well, Lee, we were talking before the show about just the value of doing things that kind of stretch you, get you out of your comfort space. And has this been kind of an example of that for you? That it's maybe caused you to think more about blues and about that kind of playing? When you seems like the music that you love or your roots are more kind of country, rural roots of music. Is that accurate?
I don't know. I grew up in Nashville, so on the surface, the quick answer would be no. I hate country music because I grew up in
I don't
Nashville.
mean- I don't mean
but
like
I ended up
country
playing a
music.
lot of it, and I play lots of stuff from bluegrass gigs to trying to play the Django things, and I don't really do that much justice. But I enjoy that kind of music, and it's a different style. And then of course I play in electric bands, and so it's fun to me to have different flavors of the guitar.
Yeah.
And to try to do different ones. And so he brings me all this other stuff, all this blues and jazz, and it's been just it's been a really cool education to sort of do it and to, I do get pushed out of my comfort zone a little bit. I mean, it's nice because I have him here. I mean, my comfort zone is sort of taking guitar solos, and so when I sat alone on a stool for a year, there was zero of that. And so that was very awkward. So just to have somebody like him that can all of a sudden start comping chords and I can go, oh, and go, it's so satisfying. It's like, oh, it's been a
take a deep
year, I didn't
breath.
get to do this. Thank you for comping for me and giving me a minute, and now I'll comp for you, and you take one. And so I think we were both sort of desperate to be able to just play with another musician again and not have to do what this instrument brings you when you're doing it as an individual. Because, the whole approach changes when you have other people. And the bigger the band gets, you need to do less and less and find your role, and down to where I'm doing it all by myself and I'm trying to do all the roles, or Ben Lacey it, as I say, where you play all the parts at once.
Ben
But,
Lacey, tell
Ben
listeners
Lacey
who Ben
is a
Lacey is.
local musician, just absolute virtuoso.
One of the best on earth.
One of the best on earth, way past Lexington, Kentucky, but we're very much lucky to have him here. But Ben's act is that he sort of can play all the parts at once. So he'll start with a bass line and then can layer in a rhythm part and then layer in the lead part, and he's smacking it the whole time, keeping the drum part. And he gets the whole song done all by himself. And then, of course, if you know Ben, he'll then start up a conversation and go, hey, Lee, how you doing? And spit his dip while he's playing 8 parts at once. And if I play a G chord, I can't really speak a sentence very easily. So to see somebody that can do all these parts and then hold on a conversation, he's very amazing. So anyway, he's sort of a local inspiration. And especially when I found myself sitting on a stool for a year, because you start to need to be rhythmic about your playing and smack it and be the the bass line, and don't forget this, and so I ended up taking a very Ben Lacey approach to things. He was definitely in my mind a lot.
Would you guys go back a little bit in time and both of you talk a little bit about when sort of music put its claws into you? And do you remember back to that time? You were talking about when you were when you were maybe late high school, first 20 years old, when you first met at that toga party. Did your music happen well before that? Did you get into it a long time before that?
Definitely.
Yeah, how did that happen?
And I grew up in a musical family, and my mother's a pianist and singer, and my dad is he loves music, and he's not a great musician, but every year around Christmas, I remember he'd break out his recorder and play Good King Wenceslas. That's one of my earliest memories, and just loving that sound, and that grew up with lots of music in the house, and I started playing. It's kind of one of those things. I wanted to play trumpet, and I guess I had buck teeth, or something. That's what the band director told me. He said, your teeth stick out too much. He's like, why don't you play cello? I'm like, okay, what is a cello? I'm like 8 years old. I think I knew what a violin was, or I loved music. I didn't necessarily know what every instrument that was making it go. So I started playing, you play sit down between your knees. Like, okay, I can handle that. I was kind of a big kid, as a big adult.
Well, it's cheaper than all that orthodontic work.
Definitely. I didn't, we could skip all that. And I kind of grew into that anyway. It all shaped up right. But so that was kind of so 8 years old, started playing cello. By 11, 12, kind of added playing stand-up bass. And
learn to read music.
And started that way.
Yeah.
And that for some reason, something about guitar. We were actually, Lee and I were just talking about this a couple days ago, just talking about the Beatles, and this is kind of strange that, I was born in 1971, so the Beatles had been basically done for at least a year by that point, and actually, I think my parents bought McCartney. They bought Ram. Like, I think it came out
That's a good album.
2 weeks before I was born or something, you know what I mean? But by the time Lennon had died, the Beatles they were part of the cultural language, of course, but I didn't understand that as an 8, 9-year-old. And then all of a sudden realized, like, there was something to that, not understanding, like, this guy touched so many people. I had no context for that. I had no the 60s or anything like that. But that started getting into the Beatles. Something about that was about getting into playing guitar. And I had all their, so for years, starting in 80, I guess, or maybe early 81 or something, my parents had the Red Double album, listening to that all the time.
So you just started listening to later Beatles stuff.
Well, it was the red one, so that was the 62 to 66.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was Love Me Do to
So the blue one, the blue one
Ticket to
picked up
Ride
from
or
there.
something.
Right.
Yeah. The blue one gets into the
Short-haired Beatles.
And here the blue one was like, this is the Beatles? Okay. Well, whatever, a year later in 82 or 83 or something. But then like getting a guitar and having all those songs in my head, and a buddy of mine I just wanted to play guitar, and a buddy of mine had a Beatles songbook with all the dots on the 6 lines. And I'm like, okay, well, I know the songs are in my head. And that's kind of how I learned how to play a bar chord. I could remember like playing a B minor, like from whatever Beatles song that was, one of several. Like, oh, cool, yeah, I know that one, and that was really the beginning. And then just kind of like basically, so I learned by ear. That's weird. I learned cello and bass by reading music. If you gave me a bass or a cello, I couldn't play a song. I could play something I memorized. But with guitar, I taught just inch by inch, millimeter by millimeter, kept understanding more and more about just how music kind of works. Like besides, you look at that and say it. It's just the way that like if the only things you ever spoke were what someone handed you a piece of paper and you just said, oh, hi, I'm Willie. I'm, a father and a husband and a, basketball player. And you know what I mean? Instead of like, oh, I'm this. Hey, I'm Willie. I was born in Indiana. You know what I'm saying? I can. Music can be the same way. I mean, it's a form of language that can be written or oral or
Yeah, right.
I mean, so that is kind of where I got going. And it's never really stopped. I mean, that was probably age 14. I quit playing bass and cello, then started playing. I mean, so it's been 37, 36 years later.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
a long
so-
time. Well, how about if we get back to some more music, and then we'll let you field that question.
Sounds good.
Lee, I'd love to hear your stories too. Hey, folks, we've got Lee and Willie here with us on Red Barn Radio.
Thanks, yeah.
Thank you.
As I walk on the lawn, I hear a sweet little song. Flowers dance in the breeze, sunshine down through the leaves, and I think of you. I am thinking of you. As I sit a little while, I see your sweet little smile. Laughter echoes around, a most delightful sound. And I think of you. I am thinking of you. All life's sweet little thing, and all the joy that they bring. One thing that they all do, one thing always is true. They make me think of you. I am thinking of you. Get it, Lee. All life's sweet precious thing, and all the joy that they bring. One thing that they all do, one thing always is true. They make me think of you. I am thinking of you. thinking of you. I am thinking of you. Thanks, y'all.
Very good. All right, this next one's another Django Reinhardt tune. It's called Blue Drag. 1, 2, 3, 4.
This next tune, this is a old folk classic, mountain classic, I'd say. This one's it's called John Hardy. We're kind of doing Doc Watson's. There's that great Dave Hoffman film with him and Doc Watson and Earl Scruggs and his kids all sitting around playing. And this is one of the songs they do, little John Hardy. John Hardy was a desperate little man, carried 2 guns every day, killed in a man on the West Virginia line. Oh, to see John Hardy getting away, oh Lord. Oh, to see John Hardy getting away. Made his way to the East Stone Bridge and thought that he'd about be free. A marshal came up and grabbed him by his arm, said, "Oh John, you're coming away with me. You're a bad man. Oh John, you're coming away with me." Sent for his mama and his papa too, to see if they bring down his babe. But Barney said he was a murderer. They put old John Hardy back in jail, oh Lord. Put old John Hardy back in jail. They hung John Hardy the following morning, hung him way up in the sky. The last words that John Hardy ever spoke was, "See you in that sweet old by and by, Lord, Lord. See you in that sweet old by and by." John Hardy was a desperate little man, carried 2 guns every day, killed him a man on the West Virginia line. Oh, to see John Hardy getting away, oh Lord. Oh, to see John Hardy getting away. Thanks, y'all.
Before I tell you what it is that we have coming up next time, got a bunch of announcements actually for you. I just want to remind you that you can watch tonight's live stream at your convenience. So if you need to step away and put the baby to sleep or whatever, do the dishes, whatever else, you can come back and check out the live stream any old time you want. Also, our live stream is available on the weku.org website. You click the link on the right side of their main page. That's all. Don't miss a single episode. Red Barn Radio. Listen to the live. We'll be lights out on our live stream for the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday week. But don't worry, we'll be back again before you know it as our Red Barn Radio company of elves prepare our annual Red Barn Radio holiday program. This year we ring in the holiday with beautiful sounds from two regional trios. Ted Yoder, dubbed the Bela Fleck of the Hammered Dulcimer, returns to Red Barn, this time accompanied by bass and marimba. This is going to be great. His accomplished ensemble is going to play selections from a really remarkable holiday CD they put out. Also joining us that evening will be Nero's Fiddle, who draws upon their own mountain-inspired holiday catalog of sacred and nostalgic tunes. And this will surely transport you to simpler times. I know you're going to love it. Our live stream then returns December 8th with Erin Enderlin. Erin Enderlin is a terrific songwriter. She's written lots of tunes for the Bigs, and you'll learn more about that when you meet her. And everything she does, she sings like the air to Patsy or Tammy. And then she writes like Eudora Welty decided to pick up country music. Over the last year and a half, lots of people have noticed the catchy twists in her songs, and her classic voice have opened lots of opportunities for her. She's been featured in the CMA Songwriter Series and received rave reviews from Rolling Stone for her 2019 release, Faulkner County. So that's coming to the Red Barn Radio live stream December 8th. Erin Enderlin. Now let's get back to tonight's Red Barn Radio program. We come to you live from the Performance Hall at Arts Place in the grand city of Lexington, Kentucky. We've got Willie Eames and Lee Owen with us this evening on the stage, and they're playing some great music for us. What's coming up next? What are your next tunes?
I've got a tune here that's a friend of mine's from Nashville, a guy named Uncle Don Clark. And I played in a band with Don back in the 90s or whatever, and he was just a great songwriter. So all these years later, I still sort of cover Don's songs in all of my various little endeavors. Anyway, this one is called the Cicada Song, or 13 Years Underground, and it's sort of his take on the 13-year cicada. And as we had some cicadas come back this year, I don't know if they were 13-year or 17-year, I don't know, they're different ones. But anyway,
They were
made
loud.
me think of them. They were loud. They come out, they get in the trees, they make a ton of noise,
Yeah.
they breed, and then they're gone for 13 years. It's sort of an interesting phenomenon.
It is.
So here's the Cicada Song.
All right.
Well, there's a friend I know, and he sometimes shows when the heat of the summer brings him back. He goes in like the breeze, just a whistling through the trees after 13 years underground. Some folks say that they can't stand it, and others will thrill to the sound. Well, he'll be hanging on until the summertime has gone, and then there's 13 more years underground. Another 13 more years underground. This red-eyed renegade just hides out in the shade, and he can be found about everywhere, in the cities and through the town, out in the country all around, with his music ringing in the air. Some folks say that they can't stand it, others thrill to the sound. Briefly he is here, and then again he'll disappear, and then there's 13 more years underground. Another 13 more years underground. searching for the love beneath the sun up above. He'll cast the seeds all around. And briefly he is here, but then again he'll disappear. And then there's 13 more years underground. Some folks say that they can't stand it, and others thrill to the sound. And he'll be hanging on until the summertime has gone. Then 13 more years underground. Briefly he is here, and then again he'll disappear. And then there's 13 more years underground. Another 13 more years underground. Thank you very much.
All right, here's another song of mine. This one's called Diamonds in the Air. Just trying to do that bluesy thing, you know. Oh, the woman I am loving, she got long, long, wavy hair, and her eyes shine just like diamond. They're like diamond in the air. Oh, I wish I could take her pain, and she never hurt no more. No more crying, no more worry, no more trouble like before. Excuse me. Oh, the river is my father, and my mother is the land. Every mountain, every valley, every single grain of sand. So were raising guns with fire, and it tore my heart in two. Brother, brother, sister, my sister, oh, we're still ain't made it through. They're like diamonds in the air. In her eyes shine just like diamonds. They're like diamonds in the air. Right, thanks, Jeff. All right, next, here's a tune that Charlie Christian and Benny Goodman wrote back in about 39 or 40. And this was called a smooth one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good for you.
Wow, I really like that one.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that was
Good old Charlie Christian.
very cool. Well, I'm going to go back and listen to some more of that online. All right, so when we last spoke, we were talking to Willie Eames about his music roots and the sort of idyllic childhood he had in the home where music was loved. Mother who played beautiful piano,
Yep.
but also the tumultuous years in school where you had a basketball coach begging him to play on the team and a music teacher telling him he should play cello, not trumpet.
Yep.
And but he had victory over all of it.
Trying to do it all.
He
that's
moved
right.
on. He moved on. But you know, I am kind of curious. I'm still thinking about sort of the different sort of roots that the two of you guys have, the different musical roots. I'm trying to imagine what kind of music, for instance, your mom, Ann.
Yep.
Your mom was playing in the house. Was you playing classical music?
Now, my dad was a classical music fan. So, I mean, he loved Beethoven, still loves. Bach, Mozart, Vivaldi, Handel. You know, all these kind of things that this is what I grew up listening to. My mom loves, like many folks of her generation, all the show tunes.
Is that what she played on the piano?
You know that she loved John Denver, and that was one of my
all right.
memories of growing up. And you know, John Denver's one of those guys that there's many songs that I cannot hear without feeling great. You know, and Simon and Garfunkel, she loved them.
Oh, sure. That's a good one.
And then you know, and seriously, I can remember I used to be able to sing along to Fiddler on the Roof. We had the soundtrack to that. When Jay-Z came out with "It's a Hard Knock Life," I was like, "Oh yeah, I know that one." Little Orphan Annie.
Right.
That was my favorite groove on that whole sound. Stuff like that. Not much. The stuff that I really listen to and love the most, which is blues, jazz, R&B. I love, you know, whatever, all those, anything that fits into those genres. Gospel. I love Bill Monroe. I love Freddie King, John Lee Hooker. You know, like whatever. I can just keep naming stuff. You don't want to hear that stuff for too long. But you know, one thing that I remember the first rated R movie. Actually, I take that back in a second. I remember my folks accidentally took us to see Blazing Saddles because it was on the double feature with Coal Miner's Daughter. That was cool. That was cool to see Sissy Spacek doing Loretta Lynn and
That's a good one.
being a Kentucky guy. And even though I wasn't born in Kentucky, we emigrated to Kentucky back in '76. But and then Blazing Saddles was on the double bill. So I saw a little bit of that, and then saw the Blues Brothers. So to get to see Ray Charles, James Brown, John Lee Hooker, Aretha Franklin.
Right.
I mean, you know,
Booker
it's
T
like,
and those guys, that's
yeah,
wild.
you know, I mean, Sam and Dave hearing all that stuff. I'm like, okay, what's all this? And that's also, you know, learning how to play guitar was, I still love the Beatles and listen to them a lot and reference them a lot. But then, you know, there was plenty of music going on besides that. So
Yeah.
I've spent, you know, a lifetime getting into whether it's Charlie Christian. I love getting to play with Lee, and he's taught me so many new songs. And I was just playing that new chord and he taught me a couple weeks ago. You know, it's just always keep learning, keep doing it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, so yeah. So what about Lee? Could you take us to Nashville? Was that where you were born?
Yeah, I was
and
born
grew
in
up?
Nashville.
Okay,
Grew up
good.
in Nashville, Tennessee.
So take us to sort of a speed trip through your, you know, your years when you started to, you know, find yourself musically.
Sure.
In Nashville.
In my family, my mother played a little. My grandmother played a lot. So my grandmother played professionally and did gigs and whatnot, and you know, and helped put us through school and take us to the beach when we were kids and stuff because of my grandmother doing gigs. So she
Doing
was
what kind of gigs? What did you do?
piano gigs, and so I remember sitting on a piano bench. There was some concert in Nashville, and she was in the Jazz and Blues Society, so she played the after party, and Teddy Wilson and Kenny Burrell were the artists. So at the after party, we're all sitting on the piano bench with like Kenny Burrell sitting on the piano bench, you know, talking to my grandmother, and Teddy Wilson leaning against the piano, and they're all singing songs and jamming. And, you know, and then I would get to college and get into jazz class or whatever or something. I took the Ron Penn class, History of Jazz, and they talk about these people, and I'd be like, oh, I met that dude with my grandmother. And so, you know, so I had that music sort of thing that my grandmother was really good. And to this day, I'll drive around and my grandmother will come on in my car in my little rotation of random, and I always listen to it. I won't fast forward it and stuff. So I very much have that, and she's sort of my musical thing in my family. So as a little kid, we're sitting at the piano bench with the grandmother who just wears it out. And so
Dad's
there's
mom,
certainly
mom's mom.
mom's mom.
Yeah.
And so there's piano in there. And at some point, my sister, I have an older sister, and she was given an acoustic guitar for her 6th birthday. So she's 3.5 years older. So I was still at that point 2-something when the first guitar was introduced into the house. And she didn't take to it, and it leaned in the corner for a long time. Anyway, I eventually took it. There was a guy across the street in his yard playing acoustic, and I went and, hey, give me lessons. And I used to go over and pay him $5, and he'd teach me how to play Back in Black or something, you know, in the 80s.
Yeah.
And just whatever classic rock I wanted him to teach me. So I did that for a couple of years until I sort of figured out how to learn things on my own, listening to the radio. And then it was like, well, I don't need him every week. And so then I went years and years and didn't do anything. Got to college, had rock bands all from literally grade school through high school to college. Get to college, go see the Grateful Dead, start a Grateful Dead cover band called Born Cross-Eyed. And that really opened up my horizons because that band improvised and listened and was jammy. And so, you know, the Grateful Dead changed me hugely. We could go into that for weeks. But I've done that for years. And so it's given me a great foundation to sort of improvise and explore and have all the freedom and the looseness of that band, but at the same time sort of being myself within that framework. And so it's a great musical growth to have had that body of material to sort of noodle in, you know, and to just play in. Anyway, had bands all through college, went home after college, worked in a studio in Nashville because that was where I was raised, had great opportunities there. Eventually moved back to Lexington, got back in my Dead band after a few years away, and I'm still in it all these years later. Born Cross-Eyed will be having our 30th anniversary, December 11th, coming up. We're going to do something at Rock House here. So if you'd have told me that in 30 years I'd still be in Born Cross-Eyed, I said, oh, that's depressing. But it's the joy of my life to have this Grateful Dead music to play, and I do it every Sunday at Linus for Grateful Sunday. So that's been a huge part of my musical formation. And here I am still doing it.
But you skipped something.
I started at like 9 and I'm 51. So
Yeah, but you skipped how you found, how you kind of found the Dead.
got to college. I mean, I'd grown up, I had American Beauty and Skeletons from the Closet. So I knew, you know, Uncle John's Band and Truckin' and the popular tunes. Got to college, some people exposed me to the live tapes that people would collect, dead tapes.
Yeah, that's right.
And I get to college and I get exposed to that, and some friends are like, we'll take you to see the Grateful Dead in Louisville. And I went there, and, you know, life sort of changed. We could go on and on about that, but the Grateful Dead was a very powerful experience, you know, for many of us. And so I followed them until 95 when Garcia died. So I saw about 45 shows, and then I've just played this music for so many years that it's very much in me. So I do that a lot, and so and again, that gives me my freedom. So many friends have bands, and you get a band and you try to get a show and you try to get anybody to come listen, and no one shows up. And we've been very lucky because by playing Grateful Dead, tons of people show up. And 30 years later, that's why we're still doing it, because every month and every Sunday night, people show up to listen. So I've been very blessed to sort of have that music to stretch out a little bit and to explore musically and to learn my instrument with a very loving, kind audience that's into you improvising and making it your own. And so, you know,
Y'all
that's
do it
been the
good,
huge
too, man.
influence on me. And so at this age, I try to sort of get away from my Dead roots because it's so much who I am. You know, I need to do something different, which is fun about this band because we'll do bluegrass songs, we'll do some Django songs, we'll do some Doc Watson. There's no Grateful Dead presented to you in this list of songs we're doing today. So it's very nice that it gets me out of my normal thing that people are used to seeing me in and lets me do something sort of drastically different.
So I have a few questions to ask you guys. You can kind of tag team them. So if you go, I'm wondering about sort of moments when you've had breakthroughs on your instrument, and if you can remember some of those. You know, if you go golfing or fishing or whatever, you know, and you spend all day divoting or, you know, picking hooks out of your arm or out of your hair, you know, you're not going to go golfing or fishing again. But you have that breakthrough moment, you know, when you pull something in, and all of a sudden it's like,
Getting closer.
yeah, I'm going to keep doing this.
I remember reaching a point where you stop learning songs on the guitar and you just know the guitar, where you really become one with your instrument, and it really doesn't matter what the song is. Somebody could walk in here and play country or walk in here and play reggae or anything, and you'd be able to just get on your instrument and jump right in with them. And it no longer was like, I know that song. It became I don't care what your song is. I can play the instrument.
You know how to access it.
I know how to access any thing in the guitar.
Speak the
And
language, you know.
Yeah, I learned how to speak the language, and that was
Yeah.
very, very much like a threshold you cross from learning songs on the guitar to learning the guitar. And it's sort of a life-changing thing because then you can really play anything you want. You know, at this point of the game, learning something is just sort of a formality. Like I can do practice just driving around listening. I jog a lot listening to what I need to be learning because I can hear it and then go home, pick up the guitar, and it's already there.
Think it and do it.
You know, yeah, it becomes an extension of you. And that was definitely something that came through the Grateful Dead in college and sort of being on stage in that environment and just sort of, you know, lots of people looking at you like, oh God, I better get it together. Everybody's looking at me. And you know, you do. And so it changes your ability to play music and to improvise.
Yeah.
And it's fun because the Grateful Dead is a lot like jazz. We're not playing jazz music, but it's a jazz approach. We are listening, we are improvising. It is never the same way twice. And so it teaches you a cool approach. Like I don't really try to go do it exactly like them, but I always try to approach it like them. And so that's been a very educational thing for me, even to where I come play with Willie. I don't know a lot of what he's teaching me, but it doesn't matter. I can do it and approach it and find a way to get in there. And I sort of learned that through the improvising techniques of the Grateful Dead in my world. You know, I play with a lot of jazzers. They get it through jazz worlds. But it's the ability to speak with your instrument, to communicate with it, as opposed to, I have a song for you. You know, there's two different sort of sides to that.
It's like how do you react to an A7 and a D7?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can play one or you can write a song with those two chords, but the possibilities are infinite. What you can add, leave out, never play again, play the same way every time. It's you know, it's fascinating. I mean, I just think about the you know, the breakthroughs. God, you know, I was talking earlier about I'm just been slowly just crawling towards what? I'm not really sure. I guess it's more the understanding of the language of music. Yeah, I mean, that's really what it is. It's just to keep understand how every note connects to the next, every chord connects to the next, you know, and how the different ways they don't, and make sure, you know. But God, one of my funny breakthroughs, I'm telling you, I mean, this is just how, I didn't know anyone that played blues when I was 14 or 15. Like, I couldn't go to someone's house and have them show me and listen to them. There was no, you know, I love YouTube so much these days to where I can, I want to watch Merle Travis. I want to watch, you know, Reverend Gary Davis. I can look where their hands are. I can, you know, and that's wonderful. So I'm just trying to even just figure out, like, seriously. So in that Beatles book I was talking about earlier, like, let's say you're doing some roll over Beethoven in D, or I can't remember what chord they do it in, but you know, any guitar player would say, well, that's simple, and it very much is. But the fact that just to go, I mean, I'm going. No, I could pick every note but the right one. And then finally one day, I swear, huh? Oh yeah. And so, you know, I knew a bar chord, so all of a sudden I could. I sat for hours. I mean, this happened. I can remember sitting up in my bedroom in my house and playing like every rock and roll song I could think of for hours. I mean, hours. I mean, it must have been 3 or 4 hours. I hardly knew any songs, but I could do, I could start doing Hound Dog, or I could start doing Oh Boy by Buddy Holly. Like, that's something, my dad was a 50s rocker.
Me too.
That's when he grew up. So
Chuck Berry, Fats
all that
Domino.
stuff. Yeah, I mean, on a car trip, popped the tape in. He had his best of 58. So yeah, I mean, all the Fats Domino, Chuck Berry,
Jerry Lee
Elvis,
Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis, all that stuff. So that's all been in my head since then too, since being a little kid, And you could watch. I remember watching. I could have sworn Hee Haw and Sha Na Na were on like right after each other or something in the 70s at some point. So you'd watch Hee Haw, you'd watch Roy Clark kicking it, and I always I like Buck Owens' guitar more than I'm talking about 4 or 5 years old here. I just like looking at his guitar, that awesome
American
red,
Fine
white, and blue.
guitar.
I mean, that was
Yeah,
so
red,
cool,
white, blue.
And then I got to realize, yeah, Buck is awesome. He's a great songwriter. He's a great singer. He's an amazing personality. He's a foundation of modern country music. And then, you know, Shout Out Out would come on, and they'd do all their doo-wop and all the, you know. I remember the guitar player, I could have sworn he had some big, beautiful red Gretsch or something.
Sure.
I remember like, man, that's
Right.
really cool, you know, but still it didn't really have the guitar bug. It was just like, man, that dude, you know. That kind of stuff. Oh, man, and then, you know, trying to understand, you know, meeting my friend Dave Ferris, and his dad plays Hammond jazz organ. I love jazz, and I had no, I mean, there wasn't really like a jazz class in high school, or I mean, you know, I'm 17, 18 years old. I didn't know that Berklee School of Music existed. I might have just started reading Guitar Player and been like, you know, whatever. I didn't know how to learn about jazz. I didn't understand what it was. Come across some records, and to actually sit with my friend and his dad, and them kind of show me like, no, here's how, you know, oh, no, don't worry about don't do a bar chord, just play 2 notes, okay, you know. You learn the tunes, learn the changes, learn the melodies, you know, all that kind of stuff. That's, you know. Then you can start having fun, and you know, yeah, I could say there's countless breakthroughs actually I could think of, because it's been a slow drag, but I ain't stopping anytime soon.
Well, I like it. You know, you guys both seem to be, you know, what they call in you know, education the lifelong learners. Like you guys have a lot of, you know, sort of curiosity and discovery that still happens in your music, which is, I guess, why you still do it so beautifully and playfully. You know, it's like your time up here seems like fun.
Yeah, it is fun. There's a
And,
thing on the
yeah.
internet about somebody in their 90s, and he practices every day, and they ask him why he's so practicing, and he's like, I feel like I'm finally getting somewhere.
Yeah,
But it's a
right.
lifelong
how
thing.
you
You're never
feel.
going to learn it all. It's not some puzzle that you solve and like, okay, I've got it. I have music. I mean, so it's, you know, you're constantly having to learn and evolve, and even if we get complacent with each other, let's say, well, then I'm going to go play with people in a whole other band, and it's a whole new group of people that approach it differently. So you end up bouncing off different people, different styles of
Yeah.
music, electric bands, acoustic bands, and you're all over the place, and it's just great fun. It keeps your mind sort of always learning new stuff and being exposed to new people, and you never have it right. And if you did do it right, well, great, do it again, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's a
it better.
it's a real treat. When I look back on being a kid, I wasn't athletic. He was, of course, a basketball guy because he was so tall.
Right.
But I wasn't athletic at all. And and as a kid, I was really sort of down on myself because I wasn't a jock or whatever.
really?
You know, and those things. Whatever. At this age, I've got gigs 10 out of 11 days of this little time period I'm in right now. And most of those jocks are at home on the couch watching TV. So it's a lifelong
video
thing
games.
past athletics or something where you get a little older and your body gives out. It's really neat that you can play music into your 90s, and you know, whether that's physically you can still do it, and mentally it's keeping you young. And so it's just a great thing. I
Yeah,
sort of
that's
encourage
great,
all
Lee.
humans to do it, because it's just, you don't have to be the best at it. It's a great therapeutic thing to do for your mind, I sort of feel like.
Wow.
Definitely.
You guys, I had such a nice time talking with you. It's been great listening to the music, really filling us up here. And we thank you for
Thanks for having us.
coming to be on the program. Wow. And we've got more music to go with Owen and Willie Eames here on Red Barn Radio. So welcome them back. Owen, Willie Eames.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all. All right, here's actually a song. You know, sometimes over the years, for Mother's Day or something, or my mom's birthday, I'll just write her a song. And this is one of those ones I wrote for her. This one's called A Mother's Love. You're the one who wipes all our tears. You're the one who quiets our fear. Through the days and through all the years, all with a sweet mother love. There are times when we need a friend and there's no one there by our side. Like the stars in the sky above, there is always a sweet mother's love. What'd you say?
All right, this next one is one that I like to do a lot. This is sort of a cover tune. This is a Cyndi Lauper tune. Years ago, they would have those shows at the Kentucky Theater, and I don't know if it was a Troubadour concert series or what, but my good friend, the artist Johnny Lackey, knew how to call into RFL on Saturday morning and win tickets. And he took me to see Townes Van Zandt and Guy Clark and Bill Monroe and all these just very historic people. Anyway, he took me to see Richie Havens. And Richie Havens had an interesting style of guitar. For those who don't know, he would tune everything open. He would sort of play with one finger, and then it was all in this thing. So he's doing the song, and I'm thinking, gosh, I know this song. And you have that moment when the chorus comes, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is Cyndi Lauper. And so it sort of blew my mind that he did it like this. And then I thought, yeah, you could really do that song anyway, you know, in all sorts of styles. So as somebody that plays bluegrass a lot, I've adapted it as bluegrass. So here's Time After Time with a bluegrass twinge, you know. Lying in my bed here, clock ticks, think of you, caught up in circles, confusion ain't nothing new, flashback to warm nights, almost left behind, the suitcases of memories, it's time after sometimes. Picture me, I'm walking too far ahead, you're calling to me, I can't hear what you said, you say to go slow, I fall behind, the second hand unwinds, if you're lost you can look and you will find me. Time after time, if you fall, I will catch you, I'll be waiting. Time after time, if you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time, if you fall, I will catch you, I will be waiting. Time after time. After my picture fades, the darkness has turned to gray. You're watching through windows, wondering if I'm okay. Secrets are stolen from deep inside. The drum beats out of time. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time, if you fall, I will catch you, I'll be waiting. Time after time. You say go slow, I fall behind. The second hand unwinds. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you, I'll be waiting. Time after time. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you, well, I will be waiting. Time after time. Time after time. Time after time.
Here's another blues tune of mine. This was kind of got that James Brown feel. Definitely a huge hero of mine. And Bootsy Collins and Catfish Collins up there from Cincinnati. Let's get that feel. This one's called The Last Go Round. talk of being you. Sometimes things get confused. Lean on you, lean on me. Where it should always be. I feel no man or sound. The best on trust I'm found. Into the love go round. Without a helping hand, no one could ever stand. My strength is not yet gone. I'll just keeping on. I've been no man or sound. The best I trust them down. Until the love go round. Until the love go round. Tell me. Yeah. Without each other, we are nothing. Without each other, nothing at all. Without each other, we are helpless. Without each other, it's truly found. This talk of dear and you. Sometimes things get confused. Lean on you, lean on me. Where it should always be. I feel no man or sound. The best I trust them found. Until the love go round. 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 Thanks, y'all.
Wow. Well, there are so many people to thank for our program this evening. First, Willie Eames and Lee Owen, our guests this evening.
Thank you.
And our volunteers and staff who make our production happen so beautifully each week. Thank you all for listening to our webcast, watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and those listening to us on the network of Red Barn stations and media worldwide. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn Radio's premier radio partner, NPR, for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Listen online at weku.org. It's your chance to hear more great live music from Red Barn Radio and WEKU. Those of you here in the Central Kentucky area, you got to be sure to check out Red Barn TV. It's our weekly program of music, now on ABC 36 WTVQ. Red Barn Radio comes to you from our home, the Arts Place Performance Hall in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Our website has updates and further information on our guests on our program. We're on the web at redbarnradio.com. And now, once again, please welcome back for one more tune, the Willie Eames and Lee Owen duo to the Red Barn stage.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
All right. Gonna get on out of here with this tune. We thank y'all so much. This one's called Side by Side. Goodbye, my old friend. I will see you again. Goodbye, my old friend. I will see you again in a better place, in a better time. We'll walk side by side. Oh, yes, we will. Further up the road, on some sweet fine day, we will laugh and we will sing about us come on our way in a better place, in a better time. We'll walk side by side, oh yes we will. You know that. Further up the road, on some sweet fine day, we will laugh and we will sing about that's come on our way in a better place, in a better time. We'll walk side by side, oh yes we will. Goodbye, my old friend. I will see you again. We've gone our separate ways. This is not the end. In a better place, in a better time. We'll walk side by side. Oh, yes, we will. friend. I will see you again. Goodbye, my old friend. I will see you again in a better place, in a better time. We'll walk side by side, oh yes we will. We'll walk side by side, oh yes we will. Yeah. Thanks everybody.
That's Lee Owen and Willie Eames. And that's all for our show for this week. You can see and hear Red Barn Radio worldwide as we stream live on the web on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern in North America. Be sure to check out our social media for updates to our upcoming schedules and more information on our program. Hey, and remember this, every like, comment, share, and subscribe in today's world helps bring roots music Southern style to your neck of the woods. And finally this, if any of our featured artists are performing in your area, get away from your TV, get out, go see them. They're out there for you. From all of us here at Red Barn Radio to all of our friends worldwide, it is our hope that you have a great week. Keep working together to be safe and healthy. And until next time, good night from Red Barn Radio.